friends and vinyl community. It's Brian for Brian's Vinyl Records, and welcome to my August 2021 vinyl haul video. We're getting back towards the beginning of the school year for kids, so I'm hoping that with that time I'll be able to do a little more video, more options out here. When they're home, it's hard to record and things like that, so that's why we've kind of only been doing these videos on vinyl hauls, but hopefully with the school year coming up, I'll have a little more time to do a little more content for the page and the channel, and we'll see how that goes. But let's talk about August's haul. No record store day this month, but it was my birthday month and I did take a trip. So let's talk about that. First things first, I took a trip up to Fargo to visit a good friend of mine, Nate. We've known each other since kindergarten. We're both huge AC/DC fans. He's a lot more of an AC/DC fan than even I am, and AC/DC is my favorite band. He got me into AC/DC, introduced me to them right before 7th grade, and I've been a fan ever since. And he is a huge collector of bootleg concerts of theirs, everything that he can get his hands on, all different pressings, different country pressings, all sorts of stuff. CDs, tapes, 8-tracks, vinyl records, anything he can get AC/DC, he is collecting. So it was real fun to go up there and look through his vinyl record collection from AC/DC, and then also just to hang out with him and go record shopping. So he took me to the stores in Fargo around the area. We went to 3 of them. One is a brand new one. It is a mostly metal place. They're starting to get some used records in there, but didn't find anything there. The second one we went to is in Minnesota, across the border from Fargo, in Moorhead. It's called Mother's Music, and I found 2 things there that I was really excited about because I don't see them in the stores around here very often. First one is not an album that's really hard to get, especially with the new reissues. However, this version of the album is the one I wanted. I already have this album in the form that most people have it, which is the Rhino reissue. I got it in the box set for this band, and I didn't really realize until someone pointed out that it's missing at least one, I think 2 songs on the album. And I thought, well, that's weird, because I had listened to the CD not long before and really enjoyed listening to that again. And I looked at my vinyl record and noticed, yeah, it's missing a couple songs. And so I wanted to find the version that had all the songs on it, and I did up in Moorhead, Minnesota at Mother's Music. Pantera's The Great Southern Trendkill. Now, the single vinyl version of this is missing for sure Suicide Note Part 1. And I think there's one other one. I can't remember which song it is right off the top of my head. But Suicide Note Part 1 is a great track. So I wanted to get that and put it into my vinyl collection as well. So yeah, found this. It was on sale and it was cheaper than I've seen it on even Amazon. So it was a no-brainer for me to pick this up. Super excited to have it. So now I have the gatefold and 2 LP version of Great Southern Trendkill by Pantera. I also found while I was there an album that I don't see at all in my local record stores and haven't really ever seen on vinyl before. I know it existed on vinyl, but I've not seen it before. And it's a Smashing Pumpkins album, and it's one of those albums that just doesn't get the credit that I think it deserves. I think it's a really good album, but people look at it more as a Billy Corgan side project because the main core of Smashing Pumpkins at the time wasn't there anymore, and it became kind of a revolving characters to come into Smashing Pumpkins. And in this case, he's got Tommy Lee on drums on this one, which of course is really fun and interesting, but Tommy Lee was never a member of the Smashing Pumpkins, so it's kind of odd. Jeff Schneider on guitars on this one as well, and I think Billy Corgan did the other guitars and bass. But I'm talking about this album here. This is called Monuments to an Elegy. I think it's a fun album. I think it's a good album, but a lot of people pan it because they just don't see it as a Smashing Pumpkins album. And I think maybe it would have done better if it were under Billy Corgan's name, but I don't know. I like it. I've never seen it in the wild, and so I saw this. It was even on sale again. I think I picked this up for under $20. Brand new, sealed. Can't beat that. It's just really good condition. And so happy to add another Smashing Pumpkins album to my collection of Smashing Pumpkins. So pretty cool. So that was my last pickup at Mother's Music. Then we went over to Vinyl Giant, which is a bigger store in the area. It's newer. They have a lot of space, and dug through a ton of stuff there, talked to one of the owners, and had a really good time there. and I only picked up one album there, but it's a big one. It's cool. Now, this isn't an official copy of this album, but it is AC/DC's Highway to Hell with the Australian original cover that was rejected by most record labels. Australia did release a pressing or two of this one with this cover on it, but eventually moved back over to the cover that we now know today as the Highway to Hell cover. So to find this is kind of cool. Now, this is an unofficial pressing, but you know, I figured just for the artwork alone, it was worth, I think I paid $25 for it, which I think is dirt cheap for a bootleg. And it's pretty cool. It comes on this really neat blue vinyl, and I don't think you can see it, but there are, it is cloudy and like a splatter type of vinyl in there, and it looks really cool in the light. When it's not in the light, it just looks like a blue vinyl, almost a purple vinyl, but really cool. So I was happy to just grab this only for the cover alone. An original press with this cover goes upwards around $300, and I'm not going to pay that to have it, but to have a replica of it, sure, why not? Just to have it in the collection. I have one over here on the wall that someone made me a sticker and put it on a vinyl and sent it to me, so I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, and it doesn't sound halfway bad either. It doesn't sound as good as the original pressing or as an official pressing, but it doesn't sound halfway bad. All right, so that is my Fargo trip. I only picked up 3 albums, not a ton. I also picked up a couple cassettes while I was there, but you know, the one store that I really wanted to go to, Orange Records, was closed. The owner was on vacation, so unfortunately timing wasn't right. Hopefully I'll be going up there in October for the record show in Fargo, and that'll be my first ever record show. I'm looking forward to that, and I'll hopefully hit Orange Records while I'm up there as well. So that's that. Now, after I got back home, I had a birthday to celebrate, and to celebrate my birthday, I did go to my local record store and picked up a couple things for myself, and the first one being this Queensryche's self-titled EP. This is a gold stamp promo version. I was quite shocked. He had 3 copies in store. 2 of them were gold stamp promos and 1 of them was not. Prices were different, varied on all of them, and after looking at the condition of them, I went with the middle priced album and decided to pick that up for myself to add to my Queensryche collection, which I think I've got most of the Jeff Tate stuff that's available on vinyl now, which I think is great. And yeah, just a really good, fun little EP that they put out before they released their big albums that came later. And yeah, to see 3 copies at one time was kind of odd, so someone must have come in and turned in their collection. They had 3 copies of this and a copy of Rage to Order, which is also one that's hard to find, but I already had a copy, so I didn't need that. So pretty fun. Good find there. And then I also picked up 2 LPs. First one, L7's Hungry for Stink. I think this is brand newly pressed 2021 reissue that was done by Rhino, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Rhino Records and Real Gone Music put this one out. So very excited to have this. Slowly been getting more L7 in my collection. I saw them live in 1994 at Lollapalooza and really dug what they did and have been a fan, but really only knew a couple of their albums, so I'm starting to get into more of the other stuff that I missed out on as I went through college and kind of transitioned into a country music phase at the time. So very excited. It also comes on this really cool orange yellow vinyl. And the last one I picked up, I decided to pick this up here. This is Mariah Carey's Daydream album. Comes with the song One Sweet Day on here and Fantasy on here. Mariah Carey's early stuff was the stuff I really liked. And so basically her first 3 albums are the ones I wanted, and I already had the first 2, so I grabbed this one. I believe this is her 3rd album, but One Sweet Day was a huge song back in the day, and her with the Boyz II Men, so happy to add that to the collection. My friend Jay sent me a birthday gift as well, and he had introduced me to the brand new John Mayer album, which you saw in last month's haul, and I just really enjoyed it. He asked me if I had any other John Mayer. I said, no, I don't. I only have 1 CD really, and I don't know if I've ever even listened to it. So he said, I'll send you one in the mail, and he sent me this, his first album, Room for Squares. Of course, this has Your Body is a Wonderland on it and a bunch of other hits that came off of this album. Sounds absolutely fantastic on vinyl. This is a reissue, I believe from 2015. I can't remember exactly, but really good sounding album. Happy to have it to the collection, and that led me down a rabbit hole, and I went out and I bought Heavier Things on vinyl, which is, I believe, his second album. On here, Clarity was a big hit for this one, and Daughters was a big hit on this one as well. Sounds really excellent. Really enjoyed this one. And then after posting those, people said, well, their favorite album of John Mayer's isn't any of those, but it's this one, Continuum. So I looked and looked and looked and couldn't find it anywhere, and then all of a sudden it popped up for sale. A third-party seller sold it on Amazon, but they had Amazon shipping it, so I got free prime shipping on it, and it was cheaper than everywhere else had it listed for, so I jumped on it. This is a music on vinyl pressing, and you can't see it here, but there is a silhouette figure on the cover. Very difficult to see, and I don't think I'll even be able to get it into the light enough to show you that, but John Mayer's silhouette is right in here. And just a cool album. Now this one sounds absolutely fantastic. I think the production value on this album is superb. Music on vinyl knocked it out of the park. This one, Waiting on the World to Change, was the big hit. Gravity is a big hit on here as well. This is a really good album, so I can see why people say it's their favorite. I love the new one, so that right now is my favorite, but again, I'm just delving into the world of John Mayer. I knew of him and had heard his songs, but never really paid attention to him, so now I've got 4 albums of his in my collection, and really enjoyed all of them. So definitely enjoyed my trip into John Mayer's catalog. Also, I picked up this one here. This is Ariya Speedway Ends the Hits. That's something I've been wanting for a long time and just haven't pulled the trigger on. This is something that was played over and over again at different parties I went to when I was in high school. These songs, this and Steve Miller Band's Greatest Hits, were staples of those parties. People just put those on and let them do in the background. So it was kind of fun to pick this up and listen to it again. I haven't listened to it in many years, but superb Greatest Hits album, Ariya Speedway. And my favorite song from Ariya Speedway is In My Dreams, which of course is on here. And yeah, just really, really enjoyed picking that up and listening to it finally. Then I picked up something on an online deal that I was super excited about. This is the WWF, the Wrestling Album Volume 2, Pile Driver, Hulk Hogan on the cover. You know, there's a couple of theme songs on here and a couple of non-theme, but funny songs to listen to on here as well. I do have the Wrestling Album Volume 1 on cassette. Been looking for it on vinyl and have had a hell of a time trying to find it. Same with this one, had a hell of a time trying to find this one, and it's only gone up in value, which is crazy to me. Who would have thought that something like this could fetch you $30, $40, $50, but that's what you see it for online now. I got a decent deal on it. I think I paid a little more than I wanted to, but just didn't have that opportunity to find it very often, so I pulled the trigger and went ahead with it, and I'm happy I did. It sounds good. Just a fun little album and brings me back to my childhood years watching WWF wrestling. Another one that I've been after for a while, and the price just seems to be all over the place on this one. This is a record, I believe this was a Record Store Day release from the Civil Wars, and it's a 10-inch EP. So this will be my second 10-inch in my collection. This is the Civil Wars Between the Bars. And again, I've had this in my cart a couple times on Discogs and just never pulled the trigger. The pricing on this is crazy. It's anywhere from, you know, $20 to $70 or $80. And I think it's because people look at it as a Record Store Day release and limited edition, blah, blah, blah. But most of them are still sealed. So it didn't sell well, apparently, on Record Store Day. And many places still have copies of them around. This one was not sealed. It was still in the shrink out, as you can see. It was opened, played once, and you know, the original sticker on here still says $10.98, which is what it went for on Record Store Day. And I only paid 15 bucks for it, so I was happy as heck about that. So yeah, finally picked this up. It's 4 songs, Sour Times Between the Bars, Talking in Your Sleep, and then they do a cover of Michael Jackson's Billie Jean, which is really the reason I really wanted this one. And I love the Civil Wars, so to pick this up for the price I picked it up, $5 more than it was on Record Store Day, I can't complain about that at all. There are a couple more EPs that they have out there that I'm trying to find, but again, the pricing is just all over the place. You just, I don't know, some people give more value to it than others, and so I just keep waiting for the right one to come through, and I'll pick it up at that point. But yes, happy to have that in my collection. And then of course, this just came out, 50th anniversary pressing of George Harrison's All Things Must Pass. I have an original of this. It's such a great album, but the production I never have been a big fan of. And so Danny and another gentleman, I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now, put together this, and they remixed and remastered this album. And I think it sounds fantastic now. I really enjoyed this when I put it on, and its vocals are out in front more. I hear better instrumentation on this one. It just sounds much better to my ears. And other people like the original better. I guess it's to each of their own, their taste. Obviously people grew up with the original for years and years and years, so this is something new. I've really enjoyed a lot of these remixing of old Beatles albums and old Beatles solo albums as well, and I think this one is definitely going to be my listen to now, because I really enjoyed how it sounded, and it's, again, such a great album. First two albums are all I really listen to. I don't listen to the jams very often on the third LP, but happy to have this now in a better, cleaner format in my collection. Super awesome. All right, up next is an order I placed through Third Man Records. I had never really bought anything from Third Man Records before, but I've been eyeing an EP from Margo Price for quite a while, and it went on sale. They're doing an August sale, and so I decided to finally pick it up. And it's interesting because they decided to put the EP over two 7-inch singles. So it's a 4-song EP. The first single is called Weakness, and it has the song Weakness, of course, on it, and Just Like Love. The second single is Paper Cowboy, and that one has Good Luck and Paper Cowboy on it. So it was an interesting concept, and so these went on sale. They're typically $7. They went on sale for $4 a piece. So I wanted to get those. So I did go ahead and pick those up, and then while I was there, I was looking to see what else they might have that I might be interested in. And this is a name that I see posted a lot in different vinyl groups that I'm in on Facebook, and I thought, well, what the heck, I'll give it a shot. This is C6 Steve, blues guitar player. Really good stuff. I'm super happy I picked this up. I was really impressed with this album. And so yes, C6 Steve. This one is You Can't Teach an Old Dog New Tricks. And then I also picked up from C6 Steve Hubcap Music, another really good album from him. So super excited to pick those up. And then I was just perusing to see what else they might have there, and I saw this, and I was quite impressed. This is actually a group that I had not heard of before. I've been really getting into Jenny Lewis's music. I got all the Rilo Kelly stuff that they put out on vinyl so far, all of her solo stuff, and then I didn't even know this existed until recently. I saw this on a website, and I was like, oh, I need to find that. Well, the album is around $150 to $200 to get a used copy of it, so that wasn't going to happen. But I was perusing Third Man's roster and saw the name of the band on there, and they have a Live at Third Man. This is Jenny and Johnny, and this is basically the whole album that they put out together, performed live at Third Man. So I couldn't go wrong there. Happy to pick this one up as well. Jenny Lewis is just fantastic, if you ask me, so super happy to get those. Another album I picked up, this one comes from my local records store. They ordered this for me. I asked them if they had it. They said they usually have it in stock, but had sold their last copy recently, so they placed a special order for me. Super excited about this. This is Stevie Ray Vaughan, Wisconsin, 1990. This is his very last show. After the show, he would hop into a helicopter, and he would die in a helicopter accident that night. So this was broadcast on the local NPR station, and so they have the recording of his very last show, and this is put out on vinyl. It's a very nice recording. The quality is pretty good. Comes on black vinyl, and the fourth side of the black vinyl is a really pretty etching of Stevie Ray Vaughan and his guitar. I'm not sure if it's going to show too much there, but a pretty cool etching of Stevie. And really good, you know, I mean, it is a radio broadcast, so it's not like super high fidelity sound, but overall sound quality on this is actually pretty darn good. And then next, I picked this up from Music Direct. I was hoping to pick up a Michael Jackson album, bad 25th anniversary edition. Unfortunately, they mistakenly put it on for sale. It was a very warped record, and they reached out and said, sorry, we don't want to send that to you. You're going to be very unhappy with what you get for the price you paid. And so they canceled that, but I also ordered this for my wife. She's a very big fan of this group, She and Him, and this is their album Classics. So looking forward to spinning this with her over dinner one night. But yeah, pick that up as well. Next up, I have an album I already have in my collection, but mine's a German press, and this US press came up and it was cheap, so I decided to go ahead and grab it. I'm talking about Van Halen's Fair Warning album. Great album from Van Halen. And yeah, like I said, I have a German pressing, but I saw this, it's a US press, and it was dirt cheap, so I figured I might as well grab that and put that in my collection for Van Halen. All right, a couple items that this one I've been looking for forever because it's the last album that I needed from her collection to add to mine, and it's been out of stock forever, it seems like, and finally people are starting to get them in stock, and I found it at my local Mill City Sound, and it's Lana Del Rey's Honeymoon album. And yeah, so I finally got this. I've seen it come back in stock online a couple times, but every time I go to get it, it's either sold out or, you know, too far of a drive for me to want to do. So when I was at Mill City the other day, I saw this and I was like, great, I finally can add this to my collection. So now I have all of her studio albums in my collection, at least the under the Lana Del Rey moniker. She had a couple before that, under Lizzie Grant, that I do not have, but that's okay. So happy to add that as well. A new release, what kind of new release? This was something that Megadeth did a acoustic show and broadcast it on radio stations across the world, and originally put it out on CD to their fan club members. The show was in 2001. The CD was released in 2006, and this is the first vinyl pressing. Now, I'm not sure if this is like with their blessing or what. It's from Cleopatra Records, but it's the radio broadcast of the acoustic show, and you know, it's a radio broadcast, so it's not audiophile quality, but it's really cool, and so I really like this. This is Unplugged in Boston, Megadeth. It came in several different color options. I picked the red one. The silver and clear were also available, but the black vinyl version is not coming out until, I believe, middle of September. So I just went with the red one. I thought that was the coolest looking one of the colored versions, and super happy to have this. Like I said, not audiophile quality, it's radio broadcast quality, so you got to know that going into it, but I think it has a pretty killer track listing. The only one that sucks is this one here is only about like a minute worth the song, so you really don't get anything of it here, which is kind of a shame because that would have been really cool to hear acoustically. But yeah, other than that, all the rest are full songs, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was kind of cool, it was neat, it was different, and something you don't hear from Megadeth a lot is acoustic versions of their songs. So for me, this was well worth picking up and putting into my collection because I am such a big Megadeth fan. And lastly, for August comes this album here. Originally, I didn't know if I wanted this one. I thought it was some sort of a live piece that he did of a full album, and I was thinking, nah, you know, I'm not gonna get it. Now he's got a new album coming out in November, so I went to pre-order that, and I looked at it and I thought, well, I'll give it a try. And to my surprise and happiness, it's actually just re-recording the album acoustically instead of full-on heavy band sounds or whatever. But anyway, it's a great album, and so it was really cool to hear this version of it. This is Cody Jinks's Adobe Sessions Unplugged. So originally, like I said, by reading it, I thought it was just a live acoustic recording of the album, but happily it is not. It is just acoustic versions of every song that's on the original album. So super pumped about that and really enjoyed it. So Cody Jinks, Adobe Sessions Unplugged. So there you have it, guys. That is my August haul. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hoping to do a few more videos now that school is starting up again across America. Hopefully it'll stay in session in person. Who knows with what's going on with the pandemic, if that's going to happen. But I got my fingers crossed we can have a semi-normal year this year and get through it. But look for some more content hopefully sprinkled in here. Otherwise, look for my monthly updates. And of course, as always, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I post everything I play all day on there, whether it be CD, cassette, or vinyl. I'll post what I'm playing at the time on those pages. And so if you really want to, you can follow me there. It's just Brian's Vinyl Records for both platforms. Do a search for that and you should find me right there. All right, so if you're new, hit the subscribe. Thank you for watching, and otherwise hit the thumbs up, and we'll see you next time. Until then, keep spinning, vinyl friends.